Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Black Baseball Mixtape podcast. I am your host, Cheats. As always, the podcast is brought to you by the Family Podcast Network. I am going to ask, as I always do, please find the podcast, Black Baseball Mixtape Podcast, subscribe it, rate, share it. I need you to rate those 5 stars. We're trying to come up. We're trying to find that one person that rated us a 4-star and track them down. But until then, rate us 5 stars. I am excited, man. I said I'm going to stop counting. I really am one of these days, but I think this makes number 5. So I think this might be the 5th pro player that we've had on the mixtape. I'm very excited to talk to DeAndre Smith. He is a 2022 draft E of the New York Mets organization. He is also a stud player where he played 2 years for the USC Trojans. We're going to ask him about that as well. D, welcome to the mixtape, man. I'm so glad to have you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So let's start with the noun, and then we'll go a little bit back. But right now, I understand you're in Florida. You're training. You're getting ready for the upcoming season. What is your day like now? And what's the day of a pro player like right now?
Right now, pretty much the same every day. Waking up at about 7:30, heading to the complex. And I'm there until probably like 1:32, just hitting ground balls in the weight room, conditioning stuff, and getting some work with the trainers. And then I'm back home and sleeping, watching Netflix. Not much, but
Staying out of
pretty
trouble. Staying out of
repetitive,
trouble.
definitely. I mean, where I am, there's not much you can do. There's no trouble you can really get into.
I like it. I like it.
No, but it's a good area, Port St. Lucie. Yeah, I mean,
So what is the biggest adjustment from playing a whole lifetime of baseball to now? You've gotten to the place where you've always wanted to be. You are a pro player. You're playing pro baseball. What has been the biggest adjustment just being a professional?
definitely. For me, I feel like I'm really working on like taking it in and being like okay with where I am right now. Because obviously the ultimate goal is to play in the big leagues and play there for a long time. But like just looking back throughout my career, it's always been like when I was in 8th grade, like, oh, I can't wait to get to high school. And then I got to high school, I commit, right? I can't wait to go to college. And then I go to college and those 2 years go by extremely fast and I'm there and I can't wait to go play pro ball and get drafted. And it just seemed like I was never really like focused on where I was at the moment. And like I was always looking like I need to go. And now that I'm not there anymore, I look back and like, man, like I wish I would have really taken that time to soak that up. So now I want to be in the big leagues. I want to play in the big leagues, but I'm, taking it in where I am now because I've always, dreamed of being here. So just being, grateful and kind of really being where my feet are right now.
That is so awesome to hear because it really is about perspective. And you're right. The grind that you've been on pretty much, like you said, since probably 7th or 8th grade has always looked at what's the next step. What's the
Right.
next step? And again, like you said, I'm sure you have goals now because it's rookie ball, A ball after the draft. And now it's, you're looking at possibly like the first spring training or how all of these things go. So I know there's always goal oriented, but how do you kind of take it all in? How do you put in perspective like, yo, I'm doing something that most Americans, most world people will never do, never experience.
Definitely. I mean, it's hard for sure. But I just look back like at all the people I've played with and played against and some of my best friends back home who are on their way to do what I'm doing. And it's like I don't know, it's very easy, I guess, to get sidetracked and to like, focus on other things. But just looking back and kind of being one of those guys from my area who has had the chance to do this, that kind of keeps me like, okay, I need to be doing this. And then I know what I want to do, but I can't do that. That's going to take me, some years to do that. Like, so I need to be focus on where I am right now instead of, getting lost and thinking like, how can I get there? How can I get there? Just be present right now and work on whatever I got to work on at the moment.
There's always two tracks when I talk to professional athletes. One that says, "Oh, the pros are where I want to be, and it is actually easier because this is all I have to focus on." Then there's another track that says, "Oh man, the pros, it's always where I want to be, but there's a lot that comes with it. Like I got to make my own schedule, I got to, pay for my own this." And so, where do you fall in line? Do you think in the professional ranks, do you like kind of the structure and being able to just work on your game, or is it a little bit more difficult because now literally there's nobody telling you, DeAndre, you got to wake up. You know what I mean? You got to go to the gym. You got to lift. Well, where do you fall in that spectrum?
I think going to college was good for me because it kind of built that into me. That obviously there's people in college that kind of they don't. I wouldn't say hold your hand, but they do make sure that you are where you need to be and you're doing what you need to do. But I feel like that work ethic of making sure you're there for a 5 a.m. lift and making sure you got enough sleep for that 5 a.m. lift and doing the right things has definitely helped me build like a routine and a work ethic for now. Like I don't need that. I don't need someone to wake me up or to, but that just goes back to my childhood too and my dad and building that, into me and me just wanting to do it. So yeah, I mean, I'm along the lines of if like, I'll get my work done because, I want to get my work done. Like I don't really need someone to hammer that into me and like tell me I need to be doing this or I need to be there.
That's a good point. I feel like just throughout the way that the game has evolved and the way that like college baseball and travel baseball has evolved, you don't see as many like stories where you might have heard like 30 years ago, like, people going to the spring training is like, dude hasn't picked up a ball since the last time he played.
Yeah.
Like I've been read books and you hear stories about folks that are like, yep, I use spring training to work myself into shape. You don't hear that now. Now it's a bunch of, it seems as if most of the people are like really out to get it, right?
Definitely. Yeah. No, I mean, it was funny when I was down at Cressy to start my off-season training. And I got there in November. I was home from about October, and I took like 2.5, 3 weeks off, and that felt like the longest time ever. That was the most time
It
I've
might
taken
have
off
been the most time you take it off, right?
in a while. Yeah. So
Oh
then I get
man.
down to Cressy, and like the first week of January, maybe some big league guys get in, and I've been going hard for 2 months, 2.5 months, and they're stepping into the cage for the first time, and then I was like, I mean, they're in the bigs, they know what they're
Yeah,
doing.
they know what they're doing. But that's
Yeah, but I
amazing.
just
That's pretty funny.
yeah.
So talk to me in the sense of just your journey through baseball. And I know you kind of born and raised in San Diego.
Born in San Diego, raised in LA.
Oh,
Like I
look,
was,
okay. So you
yeah.
were at the you were a successful high school career, and then you decided on the historic USC Trojans baseball program. What led to that decision, and how was that experience? Obviously, I know you had a very successful 2 years, but how'd you get to USC?
Yeah, I was committed to UC Riverside. I committed there my sophomore year of high school. Coach LeBlanc, he was like he was big in my career as far as like the first coach to really recruit me. Um, Went out of his way to make a relationship with my parents and me, and we were just really close. So he was at UC Riverside, and my junior year he took the job at UC San Diego.
Mm.
So he was no longer there. And they always say, don't commit to a school for a coach. And I was young, I committed there for a coach.
That's exactly what I did.
Yeah, exactly what I did. Um, but when he left, I, reopened my recruitment. And Coach Alvarez was also one of the first coaches to reach out. He was at SC at the time and went on to official there or unofficial and just fell in love with the place. And I lived about 40 minutes
I was going
outside
to
of
ask.
LA.
It's got to be pretty close. Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, growing up, I would go to a bunch of SC games. And, I mean, when you do your research about the school and the program, it's hard not to fall in love with that place immediately.
Right.
And then when you get on campus, it's done deal. You want to go there. It's sealed.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of what happened to me.
That's awesome. It is. I have not traveled. I'm an East Coast guy. I have not traveled to LA often, maybe once or twice in my life. But one of the times I went, they took me to USC's campus. And I was like, how does anyone come here and not want to be here? It's
Right.
phenomenal. And then on the baseball side, it's a historic program. I mean,
Definitely.
it has a lot of really, really top, tier baseball players. And one thing that I don't know how much of this was in your conscious, it always fits into mine. Jock Jones, they had black players that were good, like really, really good, like black pro players came out of their prospects. When you were looking at USC, did that ever come to mind? It's like they will be people here or experience some of the things exactly that I experienced as a black player.
Definitely. That's funny you bring up Jock. When I committed there, he reached out to my mom. My mom and Jock grew up together.
Oh,
so
nice.
So that was pretty cool. That he reached out. But definitely, I mean at the time, I'm not gonna lie to you, that wasn't really my thinking about the black players. But then once you get there and you do see some of the names, you're like, oh, okay, like there were some there were some black players, yeah. But I feel like last year we did some things that probably won't be done there for a long time. Like our first 5 hitters in the lineup were minorities. We had four black players and the kid from Puerto Rico in the top 5 lineup, and 3 of them got drafted. The other one's playing indie ball, and one more is going to get his degree this year and probably sign too. So I don't know the next time that'll be done. Our middle infield was black last year. So just some things that you don't really think of while it's happening.
Sure.
But yeah, when my dad pointed it out, I was kind of like, oh wow, like, I don't know the last time that's happened or if it's ever happened. Yeah,
that's crazy to think, and it's interesting because you're right. You may not necessarily. Some people would look into that, but some people may not. But I was just talking to Edwin Jackson from the Players Alliance, and he was talking about just black players having the ability to talk to other black players and how important that is to be able to have someone that you feel understands exactly what your experience is. And because no disrespect, there are well-intentioned white people in the world, but they might not fully understand a microaggression that you may get at shortstop or second base that you have to ask someone or talk to someone, just talk it out with someone that would understand what that microaggression was. How was that experience playing at USC, just with, like you said, other players that you felt like could actually fully understand what it was like to be a black player?
It was amazing. That was the first time really I noticed something. Like I couldn't really say what it was, but it definitely did feel different, like on that team. Of course, like the breakthrough stuff, that was my first real introduction to being around a lot of black baseball players and coaches. So that experience for me was different, and I enjoyed that. But at USC, we kind of like brought a whole nother like style to, I guess, the way they played. At least some of the black players did. That was a little bit different, but the dynamic definitely, it was a lot different than anything I've ever experienced.
That's great to hear. It's great to hear that you had that experience, and it was great to hear that experience was something that helped foster a whole team, right? Because you probably know it could have easily gone the other way, even with diversity, and sometimes it doesn't always work that way. But it sounds like that experience helped foster a camaraderie amongst the whole team that may not never be duplicated on your end.
Right. Yeah.
So let's talk about the draft. 2022 is a huge year for you. Huge year in many ways. Two questions. I'll make it a 2-part question because you made a decision to obviously get drafted and stay drafted. So that's one decision. After your sophomore year, successful 2 years, looking pretty good. So talked about the decision to leave USC, and then we'll follow up with the second question about just the draft in general.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that I wanted to do. Like, I guess that was my plan going into college. I knew I was sophomore eligible sign.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I wanted to play pro ball and to get into this business. So going in out of high school, that was kind of my plan the whole time. So it was just really go there, execute it, and then go from there. So it wasn't really
it wasn't really a
a
debate
huge
per se.
decision,
Yeah.
right? But I mean, after the fact, like it was tough, definitely, because that group of guys, that was probably the best group of guys I've ever played with. At USC my sophomore year, we were just such a close team, and leaving, I didn't understand how much it would impact me until after the fact. But I don't regret the decision at all. I'm just like,
right. But you didn't think once about leaving that beautiful camp. I'm even not even worried about the team. Like baseball is going to take care of itself. It's a great environment, but man, that Southern California sun, that beautiful campus. Now I know you look at it like you are very, very focused. I understand you had a goal, but I'm not going to lie. There are a lot of distractions. If you look to the left, you look to the right, all over the place. You're right there, and they're movie stars. So, it might be easier now to stay focused in Florida
than
it was in California.
Yeah. So I wasn't even
okay.
I wasn't really thinking about that when I had to make that decision.
Right.
But after the fact, it did hit me a few times because my roommate in pro ball last year, he was on the USC team too. We got drafted by the same team, Rylan Thomas. So we were roommates, and like all of our group chats and stories, the whole social media thing, and we see everyone together, and I'm just like, man, like 1 year, like one more year couldn't have been that bad. But then it was just a case of FOMO, fear of missing out there.
Sure, absolutely.
Even sometimes now I still get it watching, them be together.
Let me give you a piece of advice, D. You're going to have it for the rest of your life. It's going to be 30 years from now, and you're going to be like, man, remember that time in college? You're going to be on those same group chats, because me and my friends do it now as well. We'd be like, man, can you remember? Like, it's just, hey, look, like you said, take it all in, appreciate it, then take in these new experiences. But yeah, I'm going to, spoiler alert, you're going to have that feeling for forever, my man.
That's funny.
Let me ask about the actual draft and the actual draft process. You have a good team around you. You were drafted by the Mets organization in the 5th round. What was that like? Did you know the Mets had you on their radar? Did you think it was going to be around the fifth round? What was that process? Was it stressful? What was it going through the draft for you?
I mean, my agency, and my agent Terry, he did a great job of like keeping me in the loop, keeping my family in the loop, but also not telling me too much to where, my mind is like, what's going on? When is it going to happen? Blah, blah, blah. Like I trusted him, and, he called me when it was going to happen, and he told me what teams had interest, but he also knew, like, because he's been doing it for a long time now, like what's too much to tell someone and, what's not enough to where they're wondering. So, I mean, he told me the right amount to where I could, just leave it in his hands. I wasn't stressed about anything. I kind of knew where teams had me and what teams were looking at me. And I mean, ultimately, like it worked out where God wanted it to work out for me. So that, I wasn't really, I was a little nervous the day of, but like,
right.
I wasn't stressed out to where, I'm losing sleep over it or stuff like that. Cause I just trusted Terry and just, he had me in a good mental place before the whole thing.
That's awesome. Now, did you ever, growing up, was the Mets ever on your radar? Were you a Mets fan or anything like that? Or was it just like, hey, look, I'm a Mets fan now. My people are Mets fans now.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wasn't really a huge Mets fan.
Yeah.
Kind of weird. I was an Astros fan, huge Astros fan.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it was kind of,
yeah, it's just
whatever team.
Hey, look, there's a lot of teams to choose from. what was that first? So you drafted, you played some rookie ball, then you played, I guess, like you said, single A,
Mhm.
for just that part of the season. It's because it's crazy. You play college, you get drafted, and then you're playing some levels of pro ball. But now it really starts for you. What was that first taste of, like, just the first taste of last season? What was that like for you?
My first two games, I was playing on the FCL team.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that was a huge change for me coming from, SC, where, that's a great place to play. Um, then now I'm playing in the backfields at our spring training complex at 12 o'clock
Yeah.
midday.
Right.
There's three people in the stands and they're on our team charting.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
uh, and I just had a rude awakening, 0 for 8, 4 punchies. So I'm like, man, like I hope I do not get stuck here the whole year. I don't know if I'm be able to do it.
Mm.
Then luckily I got moved up to low A where, walk up songs again. We're in the stadium. Feels like
The
yeah,
little
I
things.
don't
The
know.
little
Yeah,
things.
little things. I'm like, okay, now I could really settle down. And from there I felt like I kind of, took off. I had a pretty good year.
Mm-hmm.
20 games I played or however many games I played. But going from college to low A wasn't necessarily, for me at least, a huge jump. Um, I would just say some of the pitching out of the bullpen was a lot better than what you would see in college. But some of
Right.
the starters, um, I saw good stuff in college as well.
Yeah, I mean, and you have to, because obviously Pac-12 baseball is legendary. It's legit. You're seeing some of the best prospects day in and day out. I do want to
Right.
ask, though, just because you brought it up, the environment of FCL versus the environment, like USC's baseball environment is pretty good, right? Pretty fierce, like pretty like big stands. People are into the game, loud chants
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. So it must have felt crazy going to play in, like, even though it's pro ball, it must have felt crazy going in, like you said, playing at noon with no fans. It's craziness.
Definitely. Yeah, on the chain link fence,
Yeah,
those
that's
yards.
insane.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely like a huge change, and it was funny. I think it was like my second or third at bat. We were in a close game, and the kids down there, they're young. Some of them are 17, 18 years
Sure.
old. The Latin players. So that was my first real take to, like, they're doing some dances, some cheers, singing, banging on the fence, and I'm just like, man, how am I supposed to hit right now? They're going
Nah, man,
crazy in
it's
the dugout.
coming. It's coming. Get
Yeah.
used to it. The environments are coming, and they're going to be different as you go throughout your career, man. Let's switch gears, ask some fun questions, and get a little more sense of your flair for the game. Who's your favorite players growing up? Who were the players that excited you to watch?
Oh man, Pedroia,
That's a
Altuve,
first. By the way, that's a first on this show. Using
really.
Pedroia as a first. Yeah, that's a congratulations. That's, I like that one, but that's a first. That's a first.
Yeah, Pedroia, Brandon Phillips,
Mhm.
um, Altuve.
I'm
I'd
sensing a
say I just
theme
fit
here.
the
I
smaller.
know that you're 5'9". Look, I know that you're 5'9". I'm shorter than you are. But I'm sensing a theme here. You look for guys that were probably around your build, speed, size.
Right. I mean, like, I don't know. You want to watch someone who looks like
Sure,
you, and
sure.
play kind of that same kind of game. Because I mean, Aaron Judge could be my favorite player, but I'm not going to be able to do what Aaron Judge does.
Look,
You
I will tell you this: the more people really, really learn and study and take in all that is baseball, the stuff that Altuve does is just unworldly. Like,
it
again, you
is.
could be Aaron Judge's size, but if you're Altuve size and you're doing the stuff that I'm talking about, power hitting, the way that Altuve
Oh
does,
yeah,
it's insane. That guy is sick.
yeah.
So those are some of your favorite guys. Who are you said you were an Astros fan as you grew up.
Yeah.
Uh I always ask everyone this, and I enjoy this question. It's in a vignette as well. But now, if you go through history, your hitter, you can face any pitcher, living or dead. Who would you face and why?
Oh man, that's a good one. I'll say Hunter Green.
Ooh,
Just he's
might
yeah.
have it.
I
You
mean
might have a shot at this. This might
yeah.
happen. Put it on there.
Flamethrower. Um, obviously SoCal guy.
Yeah.
Um, I just remember me being young and seeing his come up.
Mm.
So that would be cool for me. Kind of, he did it years before I did. So, um, and I kind of saw through social media, his rise.
Mm.
So that would be cool.
What do you think can make the game more exciting for players like yourself, like fans like me? So, what do you think can make the game more exciting for the Black community?
I'd say just, people being themselves, um, going out and playing however, you like to play, if that's flashy, if it's not flashy. I feel like I'm not the guy to ask for this question,
Why
just
not?
because my style of play, my style of play is like real. I'd say, it's not flashy. I'm not really the type of rah rah guy either. Like bat flip, a bat flip
No,
one
I was
time
gonna
in
say,
college.
bro, I see some YouTube clips of some very exciting bat flips and some very exciting celebrations when you're around in the not like Ronald Acuna Jr. this week, but I've seen some bat flips on some shots that you've hit that I was like, okay, D, okay.
Yeah, yeah, and that was like out of character for me. But that's just one of those times where
I got
I
you. I
don't just
got you.
playing with emotion, and it just came out. But normally, like that's not really. I'm kind of the boring guy on the field that's just gonna make plays and hit, and not really rah rah type of guy on the field. But nah, yeah, that
That's
the one
funny.
in
That's
college I think
funny.
you're talking about. Yeah, that was the first pitch of the season that I saw, and we sold out that game to open up
Yeah,
the year. So I
it
kind of
sounded crazy.
yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. No, look, you got to be yourself. You got to be yourself. You got to
Hmm.
have fun. And I do think that I think more players having fun being themselves is really ultimately what's going to get our community excited about it. I think I always have these conversations, and I do think it's a multi-level thing. Like at the top of the game, even from the grassroots of the game to young guns like yourself to veterans, the mid-level veteran, the mid-level Black veteran is one that was brought to my attention that I really am like concerned about, right? Because as you go through your career, you'll realize like all of these landmarks, and it's like getting there is one thing, staying there is another. But like a lot of just mid-level players, there either you kind of gotta really excel or get out of the major leagues in many ways. So it's I'm always kind of wondering about what we can do as fans at every level. What can we do as executives or players like yourselves or grassroots? Um, and it's a multi-tiered approach. But I think you're right when you say you got to be yourself. You got to have joy playing the game, have some level of excitement. Um, as a pro player at this point in your career, very early on, do you have plans in regards to just like going back to the places you grew up, community wise, or just like I know everybody thinks of that, but now you got to train, you got to play. But is there things in your mind that's like, okay, this is how once we get established, we'll give back?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I'd love to. Um, ultimately, my plan would be, for me and my dad, because my dad was my coach growing up
Mm-hmm.
as a kid, and he's a travel ball coach now. So, um, for me, like the end goal would be for us to start up something where we can get some minority kids to get on a travel ball team, and ultimately be able to fund it,
Mm-hmm.
and my dad run it for
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
run it for me. So but that's been something we've always talked about since I was in high school, or even before that, of doing that. So, that's if that could happen, that'd be something that I'd really enjoy.
It would be, and I think it will, because it really all is about those perspectives and goals. You like you were saying, you got goals where you got to do now every day to get to where you need to be. But if you've had this idea in the back of your mind since high school, there's no stopping. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's no
Yeah.
stopping those types of ideas. I'm gonna get you out of here in a couple more, because I'm really, really excited to talk to you, and I love kind of just your perspective on the game, and where you're going with it, and obviously your career. Do you set goal? I know it's almost dangerous to ask about goal setting, because I don't want you to think. I don't want you to think in numbers. Like, I don't want you to think like I got to get 50 hits or 20 home runs. What are How do you kind of focus on your goals to improve, like day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out?
Um, that's a good one. I've never really like baseball wise like set certain like stats, like goals for stats and stuff.
Mm.
Um, I mean,
That's
I'm kind of
dangerous.
just
I don't think anybody should do
yeah,
that, honestly.
yeah. I've always looked at it like if I'm playing, obviously like I'm just the type of player like I'm going 100%. I'm going full throttle. Um, so if I'm doing that, and I'm obviously if I'm healthy and stuff like that, then I feel like I'll be doing okay. But it's when like when you're not really enjoying it, because that happens, and it happens to everyone, especially throughout a long season. Happened to me in college where you hit that little 2 3, sometimes probably even longer in pro ball, where you're just like, man, like this is not the thing I want to be doing right
Right.
now with my days every day, right? um but I mean, once you could just push through that, I feel like a strong mindset will get you anywhere. So if you push through the dog days, because there's dog days, and when you play however many games of baseball, you play a lot of games. So once you get through those days, everything starts to look up from there. So I feel like just with a good mindset, you could pretty much do anything.
What's the most exciting thing you're looking forward to this coming season?
Uh, Getting to affiliate, that I loved playing in Port St. Lucie last year, low A. I think it was really cool to be able to interact with the fans and a lot of the people around the city. And hopefully, I can play in high A this year in Brooklyn. I hear that's a amazing place to play.
Mm.
Would be my first time going to New York, so hopefully getting out there would be pretty cool. Yeah, but I don't know. I love the affiliate ball, so
Mm.
uh, that'd be what I'm looking forward to.
Is there any, since you've been drafted, since you've been a pro player, have you had any like surreal moments where it's like, yo, I can't believe this is happening, or I can't believe this person walked in the clubhouse, or this is just unreal for me. I couldn't imagine this.
Definitely. Down at Cressy where I was training, uh, maybe a few weeks ago, I'm hitting in this tunnel. We got Trey Turner, Paul Goldschmidt.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah, no, a bunch. Like I was just amazed at how many big leaguers were in that place at once in the same cage. Guys who I've been watching forever.
Sure.
Hidden there. I got a chance to work out with a bunch of big league guys, and being an Astros fan, I'm hitting, and I see Justin Verlander throwing a bullpen right next to me in the
Ooh.
same cage. So some of those moments for sure.
How do you so how do you react? Do you play like, because again, you're a mild mannered guy. You're low key. You're a little, like you said. You're mature enough. Like when you're hitting and you look over and you're like, oh, there's just Justin Verlander just throwing a bullpen. Do you play it cool, or do you introduce yourself? How does that work?
I mean, in an environment like that, like at Cressy, there's nothing but minor league and big league guys in there. So I mean, it's a place for everyone to get their work in. So for me,
Yeah,
like I wasn't like there he is over there, right?
man, you're
But
better than I am.
but I'm watching for sure. I was watching everything he did. I was watching everything
See,
Trey Turner did on the field and what he was doing in the cages. But I wasn't going out of my way to.
See, you look, I understand it. I get it. and I know you're a pro player yourself, so you got you got to do your thing. But I'm just saying that couldn't be me because I wouldn't OD it, but I would definitely be like, yo, I'm. So I'd introduce myself. I think.
Yeah.
Is that weird? Is that bad? If I get there and it'd be like nobody's introducing themselves, you'd be weird.
No, I mean those guys. Those guys were awesome too. Like if you
Oh, that's dope.
like, they're not one. I like Goldschmidt. He talked to me and he helped me throughout some swing things. And he was the first person. He was talking to me like I'd played in the big leagues for 10 years.
Really, that's crazy. That's
Yeah, like
crazy.
he took time out of his day to talk to pretty much everyone, which was awesome.
That's awesome. Well, I am glad to hear. I know that there is a lot that is going to be upcoming for you as you go through this phase, because I mean it's got to be really, really exciting. Last stuff I'll ask: take baseball to the side. If you weren't playing baseball, what would you do? What would be your career?
Uh, Man, I'd be in school for sure right now. Yeah, mom would have me in school for sure. Um, I don't know. I mean, this is something like,
You're a comms major. Did that ring a bell or no? No.
no.
No television work.
No.
Uh,
I feel like I'd want to work in baseball. Like
sure.
after my career, I want to do something in baseball, maybe along the lines of an agent or
Yeah.
coaching or something like that. I would still want to be in baseball.
You would find the game. You would
Yeah.
find the game. What do you do the most, if you will, to like unwind, to get away from baseball? You're just gonna have a fun night, maybe with some friends or whatever. What do you do?
Recently, just I mean, I was a little bit in college, but now like, you have all this time on your hands. Like I'm not doing homework or anything, so I've jumped on the PS5 for all day, every day now.
What do you play? Hopefully you don't play the show all the time. It's not
Oh
like
God,
baseball all the time. Is it
I
really the
play the
show?
I play the show in Fortnite
Oh
like
my
20
goodness.
all day.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. No, that's all. But you gotta I was looking for things to get away from. Do you collect anything? Is there anything that you're collecting that's do you have I see you got the ice, you got some is there anything that's like, yeah, this is my thing outside of the game?
Not really. I feel like that's my goal. That's my goal next
You
off
gotta
season is
read some
to.
books, or you got hobbies, like something.
I'm a big movie guy. I love watching movies and shows and stuff. I just started How to Get Away with Murder.
Okay, you just start.
Uh,
Okay,
I
so
just
you went
started.
back in time. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember my
Okay.
mom used to watch it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like too young to really realize what was going on, but then
Word,
now
word.
I understand it a little bit. It's good. So I just started that, but that's my goal next off season for sure is to find something like a hobby to do other than.
See, I need to. Well, look, don't go too crazy because you got a job to do.
Yeah.
But no, I think that it's always good, like mentally, right, to find some
Hmm.
things that you can unwind, separate yourself. Um, so I'm glad that that's happening. DeAndre, I really, really wish you the absolute best of luck as you go through the season. I'll be watching, I'll be following. We'll stay in touch because I really enjoy seeing people in your position doing the right thing, being a beacon of light for our culture. I do understand that you're a Drake fan. I'm not going to hold that against you. You know what I'm saying? Uh, what's in the playlist before we get you out of here? What's the album artist? What are you wearing out right now?
Right now, oh man, this might be a hot take, but
You get
this
some
might be a
controversy here.
this might be a hot take. I just found it recently, but I just cannot stop playing it. But "Flowers" by Miley Cyrus.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. So
I
you expand your musical. It's when they say I listen to everything, you listen to everything.
I'm all over the place. Yeah,
Very
I'm really
nice.
all over the place.
If you if you could go to one concert live, who do you go see? Any concert in the world?
Blast. I love Blast. He's from LA, a rapper from LA.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. I like where you're going with this. I'm not familiar, so I got to look this one up. I got to look this one. I'm going to do it. You send it to me. I'll look it up. immediately because I gotta be in the know. So,
Definitely.
brother, I really appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing. I wish you the best of luck. Everybody, where can they follow you? Tell everybody to follow you.
DeAndre Smith on Instagram.
There you go.
There it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Black Baseball Mixtape. We're going to have, by the time that this year is over, we're going to have a crop of just amazing young players that you can follow, and I know that you can root for. You can tell your friends about, tell your kids about everything that's going on. DeAndre is one of those folks. So make sure you follow him. And as always, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you rate it and share it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Black Baseball Mixtape. Until next time, we see you.